Hello, my brother. Welcome to the Great Man Within podcast. Every episode designed to help you discover and live the great man within you. What's up, fellas? This is a big day. I'm recording this on Thursday, April 23rd. This is a day that I have been looking forward to for a month now. Actually, I look forward to this day every single year. And if you don't know what today is the day of the NFL draft. Now, if you don't know about me, I'm a huge Jets fan. It's a cross that I bear. My father made the mistake of raising me a Jets fan. In my lifetime, I've never seen the New York Jets go to a Super Bowl. The last time the Jets were in a Super Bowl, I think I was -9 years old. It was the only time they've ever gone. Every year I have my heart broken, and every single year I come back for more, believing that this is the year. And having the NFL draft tonight, even though instead of doing it in like Radio City Music Hall or doing it in Nashville, Tennessee and downtown where they did it last year, which was fantastic, they're going to be doing it from the commissioner's basement in his home because of quarantine, but we still get the excitement of watching players drafted, getting assigned to teams. And for me, there's a bit of normalcy in that. And I've been really looking forward to it. And a bunch of my buddies and I are going to be doing a Zoom call because we get together every year at a bar in the city and watch the draft together. It's been like a tradition for the last 7 years. So we're just moving it to Zoom like everything else. All right. So let's talk about the topic of today's episode, which is 3 lessons that I have learned from coaching and leading retreats for women. Now, if you've just turned on to this podcast or just discovered us, you probably don't realize that a big portion of my work is with women. Obviously, the focus of this show is to help men discover and live the great man within them. And the majority of my work focuses on the Great Man Mastermind, focuses on writing books and running retreats and experiences for men, because my mission here is to help 10 million men wake up to the power that they have inside of themselves to get on that path of doing inner work and to walk that path as a lifestyle. A lifetime commitment, not just reading a book here or there, doing some weekend retreat, right? And one of the most beautiful things that has informed my work with men is doing individual, separate work with groups of women. Now, I particularly focus on working with women who have built careers in male-dominated environments because I spent 15 years there in my corporate career working for Prudential Financial, which is a Fortune 75 company. And, usually 60 to 70% of the population in the arenas, like the leadership levels that I was operating in, were men. And many women over the period of their careers, 10 years, 20 years, 30, 40 years, can get worn down swimming upstream in a male-dominated environment. And women have been screaming for more conscious male leaders who have expanded their perspectives, who want to be curious about what it's like to work as a woman in a male-dominated environment and how to become a better male ally. They're looking for men, leaders that they can trust, who value their work, who make them feel seen and understood, who recognize that they don't have the same networking opportunities as other men might when we get a chance to go and bond with the senior executives over golf or talking about guy-related stuff or drinking late into the night. Like, a lot of women are shut out from those environments, which is where, relationships get made, where deals get done. So a great man creates environments where he and those he cares about can thrive. And that also includes being champions of women, especially in the workplace. We have an amazing episode coming out on Monday with Rashana Bide, who's an organizational psychologist, spent 20 years working in male-dominated environments, and she's a huge champion of men. And she's going to teach us how to become a better male ally of women in the workplace. So you're going to want to listen to Monday's episode. But I also want you to know that I just released an entirely separate podcast series of 15 episodes focused on and featuring women, called Design Your Future. Now, this is not available on all platforms. We only released it on SoundCloud, and you can go and get it at doinnerwork.com, which is where we have all of our resources. You go to the doinnerwork.com resources tab, and you can get access to these 15 interviews of women who are extremely successful, tops of their fields. Like some of them are, top 100 Forbes list women who are some of the best and highest paid keynote speakers in the world, women who are recognized as the top salespeople in the insurance and financial services industries, top of the line medical professionals. So like a mental health professional is on there who was interviewed. And this is primarily geared and engineered towards women, but gentlemen, if you want to become a better male ally, I highly encourage you to listen to some of those episodes, because as I share with you in a few moments here, one of the 3 lessons that I've learned from being a really powerful male ally, whatever you invest in the women in your life, you get back tenfold. As long as you do it from the right place. I've never not gotten a 10 times return on the investment that I've put in being a champion of women, a supporter of women, an advocate of women. And I just keep learning that lesson over and over and over again. So I'd encourage you to go to doinnerwork.com, go to the resources tab and check that out. The Design Your Future podcast series, 15 episodes are there right now. All right. So the 3 lessons that I have learned in being a coach for women and running retreats for women. The first one, following a woman's intuition is absolutely a sound business strategy. So check this one out, fellas. Like last year, I think it was in October, I ran a 3-day women's retreat here in New York City for a small group of 7 high-performing women. These were the tops of the industry in financial services, right? So women between the ages of 40 and 55. One of them was just yesterday ranked the top 15 women wealth advisors in the state of Arizona by Forbes. Some of these women were the top 100 salespeople, top 100 financial advisors in the industries, top of the top, right? And so this is like, a pretty formidable squad to be responsible for, right? I had to bring my A game. So I was smart enough to know not to run this retreat on my own, to be the only man who was holding space, who was guiding. I went to one of the women that I considered to be a mentor during my 15-year career at Prudential Retirement, and her name is Linda Knox. Linda is one of the most brilliant, universally well-respected leaders that I ever came across in my professional career. And she was fortunately on board to help me co-facilitate this. Now, she's not a coach or a facilitator. I was the one leading the charge, but her expertise, her authority, and also the fact that she was a woman allowed me to rely upon environmental factors, setting the stage, making sure that I was on the same page, illuminating my blind spots. And there was a part in that 3-day experience where things got a little bit rough and the wheels could have careened off the edges. And I didn't know exactly where to take the direction of the retreat. And so the rest of the women were out to lunch. And I said to Linda, I want to take the retreat in this direction when they come back. And she looks at me in the eye with a blank face. She blinks a couple of times and she goes, Dominic, my intuition is screaming that we don't do that and we do this other thing instead. Are you willing to go with my intuition on this one? And because I trust Linda so much and because she's so tapped into her intuition, I said, absolutely, let's fucking do that. It looks like I just avoided a landmine. And when the women came back from lunch, we did the thing that she suggested, and it was the perfect thing. It was exactly what we needed to get the retreat back on track. And from that point forward, it was one of the most magical experiences that I've had running a retreat and that these women have had in their lives. And many of them are still deep friends and have connected in the 6 months that have followed that. So fellas, relying on a woman's intuition is absolutely sound business strategy when she's tapped into her intuition. There are plenty of women who really curate a deep sense of relying upon that inner whisper, that subtle voice that guides and directs. That guys, we don't have that same power and the same ability. We have other things. We have gut feelings. We have instincts, which I rely upon all the time. But there's something that I've learned, that there are times where I just don't know the right place to go. And when I can tap into a woman's intuition where she feels like she's getting a message, it makes my life so much easier. I was able to just put down the weight of having to think about what would be the right thing to do. And Linda just gave it to me. And then we did it and it worked out. And 99% of the time, I'm not steered wrong in that environment. So lesson number one, guys, following a woman's intuition is absolutely a sound business strategy. And that's why I wish more and more masculine businesses would stop relying so fucking much on data and all this other crap. Listen, data is not crap. Data is necessary. It's needed. But even Jeff Bezos, he has something to say about this. He says, all of my best decisions in business and in life have been made with heart, intuition, and guts, not analysis. If you can make a decision with analysis, then you should do so. But it turns out in life that your most important decisions are always made with instinct and intuition, taste, and heart. Right? Bezos is blazing trails where we've never gone before in business, in technology. And so he has to rely upon his own intuition, his own instinct, and potentially the intuition of many powerful and important women in his life as well. So sometimes data, yes, but let's not overweight that. Like there are feelings and other guidance that's available to us, especially with the women that you trust in your life. Lesson number two, it is high time for behind every great woman is a man supporting her greatness. Now, we've all heard of the age-old adage of behind every great man is a woman. But fellas, I'm calling to you to add an addendum. Behind every great woman is a man supporting her greatness. Now, too many women, successful women, are finding themselves in a place where they need to dim their achievements so as not to outshine their partner at home or the men in the workplace and avoid upsetting his delicate sensitivities. I cannot tell you how many successful women have to not shine their lights because the man in their life feels insecure about that, or because his buddies are teasing him about it, the fact that she wears the pants or that she's the breadwinner. And fellas, that's fucking old. It's antiquated. We need to be champions. We need to be celebrators. We need to be advocates of the women whose lights are shining, and they just want light. They just want to know that it's okay to be that successful. One of the biggest pieces of feedback that I got from the women who I interviewed for that 15 episode series, Design Your Future, was they said at the end of the episode, they felt like they had just had a light shined on them. They felt like they were so seen and honored and supported just because of the questions that I asked them, just because of the curiosity that I had, because of the way that I was inspired by what they shared. They're not used to men celebrating them in that way. And it's fucking crazy. But if you can be a man that does that, that shows up for them in that way, well then she can rise, she can shine. And it's amazing what a woman will do with that level of support. There is a story from a woman in my life who I'm now entrusting a big part of my future with. I'm relying upon her for coaching. I'm signing into a big contract with her because she's a woman who I care deeply about. But years ago, we were together and we had a really honest and frank conversation about finances. Now, this is a woman who's at the top of her profession, very well respected in the work that she does. And I'm being intentionally coy about giving away too many details because I want to keep part of this, just not revealing who she is. And at the time, I assumed that she and her business brought in about 7 figures a year. I assumed that she was a $1 million revenue a year producer. And I said, hey, what's been your biggest year so far revenue-wise? And her answer to me was $180,000. Now, by no means is that anything to shake a stick at. But when you're talking about the caliber and performance of this woman and what she's done for her clients, that was a travesty. And I was like, hey, you are not a $1 million figure earner years from now. This is who you are now. What's going on? Why is that that's your biggest year? What do we need to look at here? And we ended up having a deeper conversation about that where she was just like, oh, okay. I deserve to make more. And within the next 3 months, she went out and closed $350,000 worth of new business in the next 3 months. just because she decided, just because she realized like I can, because someone showed her some support. I didn't do anything other than name her greatness. And since then, she's exploded. Now she's international with her business. And all it takes sometimes is for a woman to know that she's allowed to shine that big, that someone sees that greatness in her. And once that happens, man, she can fly high and far. And lesson number 3, fellas, is that when you support women from the right place, from your heart, they will be the biggest amplifiers of you, your message, and your success. One of my friends, Lisa Wang, who was named one of the top Forbes 30 under 30, she runs an organization called GLOW, the Global Organization of Women. And she was the successful founder and sold her business called SheWorks, which is an organization, a think tank that helps women who have tech-owned businesses get venture capital funding, which is primarily 98% funneled towards men, male-owned businesses. And one of the things that she shared with me is she said that if you look at everything that has gone viral, studies have been conducted online that the things that go viral went viral because women share. Women are always at the epicenter of things that go viral because women share. When someone does something good, they share. When they like what they see, they share. What I have found in my work in supporting women is that they go out and share who I am. They're the ones who are responsible for the growth of the Great Man Within podcast. Fellas, I wish I could say it was you, but it's the women who are going out and I'm seeing them. They're the ones who are posting on Instagram. They're the ones who are tagging our stuff on Facebook. They're the ones who are waking up other men to this work. Last year, I did a series of pro bono speeches for a group called Women in Pensions Network because I wanted to deepen my work. I wanted to become a better advocate and a male ally for women in the workplace. And I had no expectation of return. But since I started doing that, the women who sat in the audiences, the women who sit on the leadership boards have opened doors for me for other keynote speaking opportunities, for me to get large consulting contracts, for me to fill women's retreats quite easily, without doing a lot of extra legwork. If you are supporting women and raising them up in your life, if you are doing it from the right place, they will amplify your message, right? This is just how it works. And I share that with you knowing that the men who are listening to this will use that information for good and not for manipulation. It should not and never should be a tactic to support women in your life simply because you expect some sort of return, simply because they are amplifiers, simply because that women are just more likely to open doors and spread the message. No, you should be doing it because you care as a great man to create environments where you and those you care about can thrive. And then you can reap the rewards and sit back and watch how much comes back to you as a result of it. So I will encourage all of our women listeners and fellas, you too, to jump on over to doinnerwork.com, go to the resources tab, and go check out some of the interviews on the Design Your Future podcast series. There's ones there about how to beat burnout, how to design the best year of your life, how to overcome feelings of not good enough. And fellas, once you start to get in the minds and the hearts of women, you can become one of the most trustworthy leaders that they will turn to. And guys, that is what a great man would do.